Wolong's first DLC should be huge, even make our first boss that we all hate look like an absolute potato. This DLC is included with the Season Pass that you can currently pick up for $25. The Season Pass includes access to all 3 DLCs that they're going to be offering. And we're going to go over some of the new armor, weaponry, cosmetics, characters, missions, and everything else that's going to be new with this DLC coming in June. That being said, only 6% of you are actually subscribed, so make sure you go ahead and do that. Now, we will actually see DLC 3 times this year for Wolong. This is going to include the following 3 releases for DLC scheduled for June, September, and December of this year, bringing us the Battle of Zhongyuan, the Conqueror of Jiangdong, and the Upheaval in Jingxiang. Lord, I hope I said those right. But we will be receiving all 3 DLC this year, and they will all include new equipment, characters, missions, etc. So if you already bought the Season Pass, you already have obtained the Qinglong armor. And with different versions of the game, Team Ninja has already released different armor sets and different transmog sets. As you can see, the Steelbook edition actually came with 2 other pieces as well, the Crown of Zhurong and the Crown of Gonggong. These are in-game armor items, just posing that we're going to see a lot more new equipment and armor pop up throughout these DLC launches. So as far as June DLC is going to consist of the Battle of Zhongyuan. And there's actually a story behind this, since all the stories are based off of Dynasty warriors. After losing to Cao Cao in Yan province, Lu Bu fled to Zhou province seeking refuge with Liu Bei, who granted him a place in Zhao Pei. However, while Liu Bei was away suppressing Yan Shu, Liu Bei seized Zhou province for himself, tricking its drunken guardian Zhang Fei. Though betrayed, Liu Bei obeyed Lu Bu for a short while before abandoning Zhou province and joining forces with Cao Cao. And this is just showing the storyline from the actual Dynasty Warriors games and franchises, which these stories are also going to follow in Wolong. This gives Team Ninja a ton of material to work with and a ton of characters and bosses to implement, and hopefully we see an advanced version of Lu Bu as a boss within these DLCs, considering now at this point he's kind of the face of this game in terms of enemies and bosses. And speaking of enemy and bosses, we have enemy types. So there's going to be introduction of new enemy types into the game with DLC from Wolong. We already are familiar with a lot of the enemies we've already fought, such as the monkey, the flaming pine, and also the dragon, and a bunch of other enemies that, you know, we've fought on a current basis just due to the enemy variety. And yes, even the stupid tiger that I absolutely can't stand, but I'm sure we'll get over it. From the 10 or 15 unique enemy types in Wolong, even as far as the Medusa Lady or the Dragon, enemy variety is something we've desperately wanted, so I don't necessarily expect we throw in a bunch of Elden Ring type bosses into this game, but I do expect a decent amount of enemy types, as they are mentioned as being brought into the game through DLC. And again, advanced versions of Lu Bu I'm sure we'll see throughout the DLC as well, because after all, he is dead. So... And with all the new enemy types that they're going to be bringing to the game, it also makes sense to have new characters within the DLC. This is going to help us get more armor, different armor sets, different weaponry, and they have like 90 characters to pick from Dynasty Warriors, so this should be pretty good. As an example, some of the Dynasty Warrior characters, such as Zhu, are types of characters that they can add into the game through DLC. You can see he's a quite bigger guy and actually uses a cudgel with a big ball in the end as a weapon. We currently don't have anything like that in Wolong besides a hammer. Some of the other characters, such as this one, who uses a sword and shield, could also be introduced into the game. This just shows the expansiveness of how many options they really have to pick from, and plus we really don't have any pickable female characters in the game as companions, so introducing a female companion would be good. And then we also have a final one here, Sun Shang, as another character who kind of uses a ring type weapon to fight off enemies. Like I mentioned earlier, they have quite a lot of characters to pick from Dynasty Warriors to implement their characters, their armor sets, their weaponry, special moves, etc. There's a lot of potential here for some solid content being brought to Wolong this way. And you can see, just as an example, some brief character models of just a few of the Dynasty Warrior characters. I mean, there is such a large range that they have literally free reign of content that they can just throw in here at any time. Now, one of the big things that we want is new armor. So new armor is going to be introduced in the game, hopefully through these characters and new characters that we get. I'm sure their new armor sets, as well as maybe some new ones, will be developed. These are some Dynasty Warrior 9 character sets, and hopefully we will see some of these slowly make their way into the game depending on what characters they decide to add for these DLCs. But there are plenty of actually really good armor sets, weapon sets, that I'm sure will be added in the near future with the June DLC. DLC. This also poses the question for armor customization. Hopefully that's something we'll see in the future, so that way even when you use an armor set, you can customize the color and other certain things about it, allowing us to truly customize and make any character we really want to in Wolong. The actual updates for the game have gone very well so far. Let me know what you're most excited for in Wolong DLC, and make sure to check the video out on the right or subscribe on the left. Thank you guys.